Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm Urvashi and today in this video I'm going to be talking about the monthly horoscope for the month of August. I'm going to be covering all the important transits in this month and the impact of all the movement of the planets on every zodiac sign. So before I start, a reminder, remember to subscribe. Guys, if you haven't, you got to do that, and you got to tap the bell icon as well because otherwise you're not going to be getting any updates. I am doing a series on the lunar mansions, which are also called nakshatras. It is an important series, as important as your zodiac sign is. In fact, there are only 12 zodiacs, but there are numerous types of personalities. The nakshatras play a very important role. So also once I'm finished with the nakshatra series, I'm going to be including the nakshatras in my monthly transit. So it's important that you know a little bit about that. So do follow the nakshatra series, do watch the nakshatras where your planets are. The moon nakshatra is of course very important, and other than that I do monthly horoscopes, I'm doing transits, all the important transits, and I'm also trying to cover some other important topics which I feel would benefit those that are learning astrology and even those that are just following astrology to get benefit or to get help from the stars. So okay, let's talk about the month of August and what's happening in August. Sun is still in Cancer. Mercury is also going to be moving into the sign of Cancer right at the beginning of the month. Mercury is not that great in Cancer, but the good thing is that Mercury is going to be breaking its ties from Rahu. Mercury has been with Rahu through the last couple of eclipses, and so Mercury represents finances, your ideas, communication, relationships also are largely dependent on Mercury because Mercury is our intelligence. So all that has been afflicted by Rahu and the two eclipses. So thankfully now Mercury is breaking its ties from Rahu, moving into the sign of Cancer. Sun is in Cancer till the 15th. Mars is also in Pisces. So both the fiery planets, the planets that help us focus, put our energy towards achieving ambitions, have been in watery signs, because of which there could also have been a more laid back approach by many of us, by most of us, especially those that are having dashas of these fiery signs would have felt a little bit more laid back. Less of focus could have been there all this while. Of course, you would tend to feel more compassionate, more protective towards your emotions, your relationships, because of both Mars and Sun being in watery signs for the last, Sun has been there only for the last 15 days, but Mars has been in Pisces now for a while. So on the 15th, Sun is going to be moving into Leo, and Mars is going to be moving into Aries. So if you now check out the zodiac, you have the fiery trine very, very activated. You have Mars in its mul trikona in Aries, you have Sun in its mul trikona in Leo, and you have Jupiter in its mul trikona in Sagittarius. So the fiery trine is very activated. The fire, we are all going to feel the fire back in us once again, and the energy which was less focused is going to be more focused. Of course, for creativity, it's great to have planets in the watery signs. For creativity, that could have been a great period, but sometimes we tend not to implement things, and we tend to plan, and there could be lots of ideas coming and there could be lots of creativity happening, but putting things into action, you need fire as well. You need that push of fire, and we're going to be feeling that now quite a bit, especially after the 15th of the month, once all these planets align accordingly. Also, Venus is going to be right at the beginning of the month. Venus enters the sign of Gemini. So Venus is going into conjunction now with Rahu, and on the 4th, Venus and Rahu are going to be on precisely the same degree. So till about the 10th, Venus and Rahu are going to be quite close. Venus in Gemini here suggests that all of us would like to try something new. We would like to break free of a routine. Maybe many of us would like to experiment in relationships, outings, friends, shopping, we may want to spend on socializing, on books. We may want to experiment with relationships quite a bit, because here Venus is in Gemini, the sign of curiosity, and Venus is also going to be conjunct Rahu. So many of us who are running a Venus dasha and those that are looking out for to get into a relationship may be breaking boundaries, because Rahu here suggests breaking boundaries. Rahu is very strong here in Gemini. The conjunction of Venus is going to push us, our curiosity is going to push us to try something new. And I am not saying this is the best thing that could happen right now, though you would be feeling very optimistic about it, because Venus is in opposition to Jupiter. Both the gurus are aspecting each other. Whatever we are going to try right now, whatever new thing that we are going to try, whether it be something related to relationships, expenditure, buying something, some kind of a luxury thing, some change in management plans that we have, some planning, some changed plans that we could have, because Rahu in Gemini also shows a lot of ideas and a lot of planning as well. And it will feel very good. The optimism factor is definitely there with Venus-Jupiter opposition. We're going to feel very optimistic. Jupiter is our ideology and our beliefs. Both the gurus are aspecting each other. Here is going to make us feel very positive about our ideas, ideology, beliefs. We're going to feel confident. Also with the fiery trine, very activated. We're going to feel very focused. And we're going to be back on track where our dreams are concerned, where ambitions are concerned, which could have felt a little bit scattered with Mars in the sign of Cancer. Prior to that, Mars was in Aquarius. So these are not the best signs for Mars. Capricorn, of course, is a very good sign for Mars, but Pisces is definitely not the best sign for Mars. And in fact, the fire tends to kind of get neutralized in watery signs. So Sun and Mars both being in watery signs, the fire definitely could have been neutralized for a bit. And confused emotions could have been an outcome of that kind of a placement. But now with the fiery trine being very activated, lots of ambition, lots of new aims, lots of energy. We're going to feel very energetic, confident, optimistic because of this Venus-Jupiter opposition. And we are also going to be ready to break boundaries where finances, wealth is concerned. Venus rules as natural second house and the seventh house, and relationships and business partnerships are concerned. And I'm not saying it's the best position for this, because of this conjunction with Rahu, there could be lots of confusion also. And because Gemini is not the best sign for Venus. So a little bit of caution is advised here. With caution, if you want to go ahead, try something, great time to put your energy into action with the fiery trine so activated. And remember not to, stamp on somebody else's shoe. Remember to take care of other people's feelings, because when Mars is in Aries, we tend to be a little impulsive and we tend not to think too much about the consequences of our actions, and we tend not to think about somebody else's feelings. And with Venus conjunct Rahu, we'd be a little more prone to breaking rules, regulations about Venus. And Jupiter also aspecting this Venus, the confidence level is going to be high. So that is the only flip side of this, that we may end up, because of this over optimism, we may end up hurting not only ourselves but not thinking so much about the consequences of our actions. So we could be hurting ourselves and we could be hurting other people also in this. And Saturn is still in Capricorn, Saturn is still retrograde, Jupiter is still retrograde, but the fiery trine is very activated, all three planets in their Mool Trikon. So that is the good part. And after the 15th, just go for your dreams, go for your whatever you have in mind, but be very cautious, be very careful, think before you leap. I think that's the best phrase that we could use here. Think about the consequences of your actions and then move ahead. But it's a good time to put in your ideas into actions. Yeah. And the other thing is that Mercury is going to be in Cancer, so you could also be thinking with your emotions. So there again, so don't be too emotional, be more logical. So Mercury in Cancer, Venus in Gemini, wanting to experiment. I hope you guys are getting the picture that I'm painting here for you. So a little bit too much of emotions where our intellect is concerned, little bit too much of experimentation, and little bit of impulse. All of that is going to be there. But if we use all this cautiously, it's great time to experiment with something really good with caution. To experiment with something really good, but with caution. So okay, now I'm going to be talking about Aries. So for Aries, this is the Dharma trine. The 1st, the 5th, the 9th house. Venus is in the 3rd house. Expenditure definitely for you. Mercury, the 3rd lord, is in the 4th house. Mercury is also the 6th lord. So there could be somebody coming over to your place, some old friend that you may be connecting with. Some expenditure may be at home. Socializing a little bit more this month. Spending some money, connecting with your cousins, siblings, just catching up with somebody catching up with a friend or a cousin, that kind of an interaction. More focused, more energy, and more time you'd also be spending with your children, with creativity. This could be some education, some project related to education or creativity that you may want to activate at this point of time. Travel also could be there. The 3rd lord is in the 4th house, and in the 3rd house you have Venus and Rahu, and 9th house, of course, we have Jupiter now. So a little bit of travel is also indicated, expenditure is indicated. It's generally a happy month with a little bit more of expenditure, basically. The rest I talked about: relationships, new relationships, experimenting, engaging, getting engaged. Many of you who are running a Venus Dasha could be getting engaged this month with Venus in the 3rd house. The 5th house is also activated. The entire trine is activated. The Lagna is also, Lagna Lord is back in the Lagna. So that could be happening for you. For Taurus now, let's see. You have Venus in the 2nd house. The Lagnesh is in the 2nd house with Rahu. 4th, the 8th, and the 12th house. Very activated. So this time could be a time related to study, some kind of transformation, some kind of introspection that you'd be doing this month. Many of you who have some kind of an investment done somewhere and are looking for some kind of returns, you could be having some good news this month. So for education, for gains through investments, spending time at home, some travel is also indicated, because here you have the 2nd lord in the 3rd house, Mercury is in the 3rd house. New ideas could be there for you. And but again, your Lagnesh is in the 2nd house with Rahu. So I would suggest don't indulge too much, don't overspend, because the 2nd lord is in the 3rd house. The 1st lord in the 2nd house, you're going into wealth, and the lord of wealth is going into the 3rd house. So there could be a lot of expenditure, there could be travel, there could be something related to education, something related to gains, some expenditure, maybe buying a vehicle, something related to home, some expenditure, because see, the 12th house, you have Mars back in the 12th house of expenditure in its own house, aspecting the 3rd house, which is travel. So it could be something related to that, but generally a good month for you as well. For Gemini, we have Venus in the ascendant with Rahu. And your karma trine is very activated. So you have Sun in the 3rd house. In the 7th house you have Jupiter. In the 11th house you have Mars. Venus is in the 1st house with Rahu, and Jupiter is in the 7th house. So here for you, your ambitions, your dreams, your desires. Sun is also in the 2nd house, and with Mercury. So lots of plans could be there, new plans related to business, related to investments, new ways of earning money. The karma trine is very activated, and you have the fifth lord in the ascendant. So yes, those that are looking to get into a relationship, if you've been wanting to have a child, Saturn is aspecting the fifth house, and the third house, the first house. These houses all very activated. The 11th lord is in the 11th house aspecting the fifth house. So both for creativity, for children, for whatever your term ambitions, dreams, desires are, Sun is back in the sign of Leo. First in Cancer, then in Leo. Mercury is there, the Lagnesh is in the second house. New ideas related to business, increase in family. So this could be related to business, to family, to your ambitions, dreams, desires, children, creativity, business, gains. Generally, all that is looking good this month. Now I'm going to be talking about Cancer. For Cancer people, Sun is going to be in the ascendant with Mercury. Sun will be moving to the second house. The first 15 days, Sun is going to be in the first house, then in the second house. And then you have, in the sixth house, you have Jupiter in its own house. Mars is in the 10th house. So Cancer, the only thing which I'm seeing here, which is not looking so good, is Mercury in the ascendant. Mercury is not the best planet for you. And you also have Saturn in the, 7th house. So here, Mercury in the ascendant, Saturn in the 7th house suggests there could be some health issue for you this month. And Venus is in the 12th house, could have some kind of travel, some kind of expenditure. Venus is your fourth lord, little bit of disturbance at home could be there because Venus is also conjunct Rahu. But you're going to be more focused now with your Artha trine very activated, with Mars in the 10th house. So all your scattered energies are going to be now back on track. You're going to feel very focused where your work is concerned. Jupiter is also in its own house, and Jupiter is aspecting the 2nd and the 10th house. So work related this month is good. Health, I would say a little bit of caution, little bit of extra expenditure, some lack of peace, some disturbance at home you may feel. Now I'm going to be talking about Leo. So for Leo, Sun is first going to be in the 12th house, and then it's going to be back in the ascendant. And your Lord of Wealth, Mercury, is also going to be in the 12th house. In the 11th house, you're going to be having Venus with Rahu. In the 5th house, you're going to be having Jupiter in its own sign. The first house, Sun is going to be back after the 15th, and the 9th house is very nicely activated. Saturn is very positively posited in the 6th house. So Leo people, just the first 15 days, you may still feel a little scattering of energies, not being able to focus. Good time for spirituality though. Good time for travel. Many of you may have had to visit a hospital as well. But now the Lagna Lord is going to be back in the Lagna, more confident. You're going to start feeling very confident. But expenditure is still going to be there. Your Lord of Wealth is still in the 12th house. Lots of expenditure could be there. Also your Lord of 10th house is in the 11th house now with Rahu. So gains too could be coming in. If there's going to be expenditure, there's going to be gains. There's going to be more connecting with your social circle, and those people are going to gain who have anything to do with the fashion industry, with the beauty industry. So good for you guys. If your business is related to those industries, anything related to Venus is going to be more gainful for you. But there's also going to be expenditure. But new ideas, new planning, your Dharma trine is very nicely activated. New education, anything related to children, you're going to feel blessed, So many of you who are also planning a baby could get some good news this month. So now I'm going to be talking about Virgo. Sun is in the 11th house for the first 15 days, and then Sun moves into the 12th house. Mercury is in the 11th house. Mercury is the Lagna Lord and the 10th Lord in the 11th house, and you have the 9th Lord in the 10th house. So the 9th Lord in the 10th house, 10th Lord in the 11th house, and your Moksha trine is very activated. Sun is going to be back in its own house in the 12th house. You have Jupiter in its own sign in the 4th house, and in the 8th house you have Mars. 8th house is sudden unexpected happenings, and plus having Mars there could be minor accidents, there could be heated arguments, there could be some disturbance, especially at home. So little bit of disturbance I do feel. There could be certain amount of introspection that you tend to do this month. Also with the this trine being very activated and Mars going to the 8th house does show little bit of disturbance. But where career is concerned, because your 10th lord is in the 11th house, career, it's looking good. Those people that have anything to do with Mercury kind of professions, anything related to accounting, business, uh, anything related to books, anything related to teaching, communication. So any kind of business or any kind of communication or anything related to media, those people will tend to do very well this month. And also because your 10th house also has the 9th lord, so this is a nice yoga. But some disturbance can be felt at home. Of course, for gains it's good. If you've done any previous investments, you may get good results from there. But for peace of mind, having Mars in the 8th house, and for health too, I wouldn't say this is the best position. Though it does show there are two Vipreet Raj yogas, so going through something bad, you may come out and you may get very good results. But there could be some disturbance on the subconscious level. Now I'm going to be talking about Libra. So for Libra, here you have your 9th lord Mercury coming into the 10th house. In the 9th house now you have your ascendant lord Venus and Rahu. And you also have the karma trine very activated. You have Jupiter in the 3rd house, and you have Mars in the 7th house, and in the 11th house you will have Sun. So Sun is moving from the 10th house to the 11th house. You may get help and support and may benefit from people in good authority positions. They may be supportive to you. In your network circle, you may come across people who are in good positions, or good positions in the government. They could be supportive to you also. And lots of communication, lots of interaction in your workplace, maybe with your boss. And there could be also some travel, some good news. The ascendant lord is in the 9th house, so some good news, maybe an opportunity comes across your way, and you yourself may be experimenting with new traditions, new cultures. There could be some kind of an experimentation that you would like to do into new, you may be breaking certain boundaries and experimenting with new things in life. See, the Lagnesh is in the 9th house with Rahu, so that is like experimenting. The 9th house is the entire universe. You could be experimenting, gaining some kind of knowledge which is unconventional to your culture. So that too could be happening for you. So good time for ambition, but you have Mars in the 7th house. Go get a kind of an attitude is there, but there could be certain arguments that you feel with your spouse, some kind of a strain that you may feel there, but your ambitions are going to feel stronger. There will be a stronger pull to achieve your ambitions. And a good time for learning something new. The 9th and the 3rd house are so activated. And also those people that are looking to enter a new relationship, the possibility is very, very strong. So 7th house, Mars is there, and you have Jupiter in the 3rd house. So the 3rd house, the 7th house are both activated, and Venus is in the 9th house. So now something could come your way this month. Now I'm going to be talking about Scorpio. So for Scorpio people, you have Sun in the, you have Sun in the 9th house, and Mercury is also in the 9th house, and Venus is going to be in the 8th house. So Venus and Rahu are in the 8th house. 9th house, you have Sun and Mercury, and Sun is going to move into the 10th house. And so in the 10th house you have Sun, in the 2nd house you have Jupiter, and you have Mars in the 6th house. So this is a very, very good month for Scorpio people. The Artha trine is very strongly activated. Jupiter in the 2nd house, expecting Mars in the 6th house. So those that are going to be facing some competition, any challenges, you can really chill. You have the blessings of Jupiter with you, and you have the confidence and the aggression of Mars. It's going to be completely supporting you in whatever you do. So just go very confidently. If you have anything to do with your boss or any authority figures, any kind of communication. Luck will be very supportive for you. So there could be lots of lots of interaction. A new boss can also be seen from this kind of a position. A new status, a new position for yourself also can be seen here, because you have gone into competition in the 6th house, blessed by Jupiter. Here the 5th lord aspecting from the 2nd house. In the 10th house you're going to be having sun, and so here the planets are very, very well aligned for you, and you have Saturn in the 3rd house. So yeah, this is a great month for Scorpio people. Where work is concerned, it's great. For those that are fighting some kind of a disease, this month is going to be very supportive for you. So where work, where creativity, those that are fighting a disease, they're going to come out of it. But this month I would also suggest start some kind of an exercise routine. For Scorpio, I would suggest start some kind of an exercise routine. I think that's important for you. So now I'm going to be talking about Sagittarius. So for Sagittarius, Jupiter is back in the ascendant. What a blessing. And in the 5th house, you have now Mars in its own sign. And in the 9th house, you will have Sun. But Sun is first in the 8th house, in Cancer, with Mercury. Mercury is the 10th lord and the 7th lord. So Mercury is going to be in the 8th house. So here, some disturbance in the workplace can be seen. Some kind of a break is also possible, especially the first 15 days, not looking that great. After the 15th, Sun is going to come to its own house. Sun is the lord of one of the trine houses. The entire trine is going to be activated. New opportunities, new responsibilities, new sense of confidence is going to be felt, and new relationships possibly, because in the 7th house you have Rahu and Venus. In the 5th house you have Mars. So you may be impulsively running into something without thinking too much. I would suggest be very cautious. Also, any kind of investments you want to make, I would suggest be very cautious in whatever investments, any new relationships, anything you'd like to venture into, any business partnerships. So especially the first 15 days or so, because Venus is going to break from this conjunction around the 10th. They're going to go apart in degrees, looking better after that. Initially, you got to be a little more careful. And after the 15th, once the Sun comes out of the 8th house, Venus breaks from this conjunction, gets away. Better time after that. Better decisions will be made after that. Now I'm going to be talking about Capricorn. Well, your Moksha trine is activated. You have Jupiter in the 12th house. You have Mars in the 4th house. And you will have Sun first in the 7th house, and after the 15th, Sun will move into the 8th house. Mercury will stay in the 7th house, and in the 6th house you have Venus and Rahu. Those people that are going through some relationship issues could feel the strain this month, especially the first 15 days. You may feel it more. Many of you would be experimenting with new relationships. Mercury is in the 7th house for you now. So many of you would be experimenting with new relationship. Venus is going to be conjunct Rahu in the 6th house, Mercury in the 7th house. Some of you may also be considering new business opportunities. There could be some disturbance at home. Mars in the 4th house is not the best position. For healing, it's a good month. Jupiter is in the 12th. Moksha trine is also the trine that is for healing. Investments, yes, you could gain from investments. Those that are expecting something from as an inheritance, as a legacy, that could also happen for you. Sun is moving into the 8th house. Jupiter is already expecting this sign, the 4th house and the 8th house. Expenditure also could be there. Work-wise, you will feel comfortable. But be careful about any new experimentation, especially with the first 15 days or so. Now I'm going to be talking about Aquarius. So for Aquarius people, in the 3rd house, Mars is going to be there. In the 7th house, you're going to be having the Sun after the 15th. The Sun is moving from the 6th house to the 7th house. And in the 11th house, you have Jupiter. So it's the Karma trine, very activated. And in the 6th house, you will have Mercury. In the 5th house, you will have Rahu, Venus. So you guys, definitely, many of you would experiment with new relationships, new creativity. Some of you would also connect with old relationships, people you knew in the past, since Rahu is going to be here conjunct Venus. So some of you would also may interact with people you knew in the past. Many of you would be breaking taboos, getting into new relationships. Many of you would be taking up some kind of an art, some kind of learning, education, some kind of education, especially related to the arts could be there. New learnings, new skills related to your work. It's a good time if you want to start to, you want to upgrade, you want to take up a course that will help you in your office. It's a great time. And new ambitions will be there. A great level of confidence you will feel. New initiatives. Mars is in the 3rd house. New initiatives will be taken by you, and it's a good time. So, but just be careful, because Rahu is still in the 5th house. Sometimes Rahu tends to confuse us. It's conjunct with the 9th lord. The 9th lord is all, it also signifies Jupiter, your values, your wisdom, conjunct Rahu. So little caution, I would suggest. Talk to your elders, whoever you trust, and take their advice about whatever new you're going to do. It's a great time. Mars in the 3rd house is a great time to initiate something new. Mercury in the 6th house shows some skills that you may be interested in taking. But whatever you intend to start, be a little cautious, because Venus, your 9th lord, is conjunct Rahu here. So take somebody's advice. Now I'm going to be talking about Pisces. So for Pisces people, your Artha trine, 2nd house Mars, 6th house you will have the Sun after the 15th, and in the 10th house you have Jupiter. Your Artha trine is very activated. Getting money from somewhere is indicated this year, getting a bonus, doing better in business, doing better in your daily routine. That's the kind of a blessing we have here, especially after the 15th of the month. And prior to that, you have Sun in the 5th house. Mercury is also in the 5th house. Mercury is your 4th lord and your 7th lord. So here, 7th lord in the 5th house. New relationships, new interests, new hobbies, new interactions. There could also be lots of expenditure, new luxury things that you would like to buy for home. So a good month for finances, good month for business, for your workspace. It's a great month. The Artha trine is very strongly activated. New ideas, new creativity, new relationships are also indicated. Good time at home. Some kind of an expenditure, buying something for your home, that kind of a thing is also indicated. So generally a peaceful month for Pisces people. So that is all for now. I will now be seeing you in the next video. Remember to subscribe, remember to tap the bell icon. Bye bye for now.